What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Usual, where we go beyond what you're used to. I'm your host, Paula Zay Anthony, your thought leader, your mindset coach, and we are joined today by the lovely Kalisha Lachey, your favorite shadow work coach. And today, we got a couple of topics to talk to y'all about today. We're going to be talking to you about permission. And we're also going to be talking to you about flow state, how to get into the flow, how to not allow yourself to be bogged down by thoughts of, oh, I need to be doing something in order to get XYZ, right? And that stems into permission as well. Giving yourself the permission to hold space for the person that you are becoming, right? Giving your permission to be bold and be brave about the decisions that you are making in your life, right? And yeah, this is going to be a good show. First off, how are you feeling today?
I love that question. I am feeling inspired, really inspired. I've been taking the things that I've been engaging in, and it's been like, I don't know, the creativity has just been on point for the nation lately. And I am loving it. So, yes. How are you feeling?
I'm phenomenal. I am phenomenal. Today is a beautiful day. And I always say, right, today is a wonderful day to get another chance and try again, right? Because every day is just another opportunity to try again and get it right. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter what's going to happen tomorrow in a couple hours, you still get another chance to try again. So for that, I'm grateful and I'm honored to be here.
I like the chance to try again. I think I have a little resistance when it comes to like saying are we doing right? Because who's to say what's right? And I think even when we do wrong, depending on our perspective, right? It's like, are we doing wrong, or is this an opportunity to like learn a lesson so that's better? And yeah, just try again to improve myself, to expand myself. I like that terminology better.
Sure. And you know what's funny? That ties into permission. Like giving yourself a chance, giving yourself permission, right?
And to fuck up, like, excuse my language, but permission to just like, all right, I'm a F this up for real, but we gonna do it, like, you know.
So this morning, and actually these past few days, right? So I went live this morning, and that's something that I haven't done in a while.
I missed it.
Yeah, you did. It was awesome too.
Yeah, tell me next time. I'm gonna have to put the notifications on.
Oh, I got you. We're gonna be going live again tomorrow, so I'm gonna definitely invite you. And it was just so funny, right? Because I got the impulse the other day to do it, and I don't know why. I don't know where it came from. It was just like, just go live, right? And I was just like, so many things came up, and it's like, well, I haven't gone live in a while, so my algorithm is probably not attuned to how it was back when I was going live frequently. And I'm like, maybe a lot of people aren't going to show up, or maybe it's not going to go as well as I think. All of these excuses. And I did it anyway. Why? Because I gave myself the permission to do so. I was like, just do it anyway, because what do we always talk about? We always talk about showing up for yourself, even when others don't, right? That's the thing that I am big on, is just showing up and just being present, because the more you show up, the more confidence you build. And so the live went exactly how I thought it would. No one showed up. It was just me.
I'm sorry, that's so funny, but I was expecting you to say something different. Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I was there. It was just me. I had some notes, and I was just rattling them off. And I was like, hey, look, I was talking to this. It feels I was talking to 10,000 people, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you for tuning in. even though nobody tuned in, but still, thank you for tuning in and everything. I did the whole spiel, right? And at the end of it, I felt so good because I was like, dang, I did something that I was initially afraid to do. And like, I overrode the excuses in my mind to just step into my power, to step into my permission, to step in and say, this is who I am and this is what I represent. And I choose to follow my instincts rather than follow my fears. Right. And so today it went well. A lot of people showed up. My childhood friend showed up and was just showing love and stuff. And it was cool. People were interactive and it was just a blast. I had fun doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, this was really dope. I really enjoyed this. And the thought that comes to mind with this is that, and this is just something that's been on my mind these past few weeks, and it's disruption follows intention. So what that means is the moment you intend to do something, there's always going to be a disruption to the pattern of thinking that you have or to the pattern of living that you're currently living or to the way that you're living, right? So disruption follows intention, right? Like with this, when we first started doing this, right? Mm-hmm. When I first posted it, maybe only a few people watched, right? I was like, okay, that's what I expect, right? I don't expect to get tens of thousands of views after one video. But the thing that I do expect from me and from you as well, to a degree, is that we continue to show up and continue to be consistent in what it is that we're doing and not look for the result, but look for the becoming. Look for what is this becoming? Who are we becoming throughout the process of doing all this? And all of this stems back to the root of giving yourself permission. Like, for those that don't know, we got on here early and we were just talking about game planning something for the whole community, right? And it was such a beautiful exchange of energy, and it was also a wonderful idea. And throughout the entire process, the only thing I think of was like the permission part, as far as like, this can happen. We can do it. There's no doubts. There's no like, no fears, and there's no objections. It's just like how to get it done, right? So I say all that, and I want to ask, and I want to direct it towards you, is how do you feel about permission, or what are some things that come up to you when you think about permission or giving yourself permission?
My goodness, so many things. But first, like I one of the things that what you said made me think of was like you giving yourself permission to allow your excitement and your drive to override the fear. Mm. And I think a lot of the things that we want to do, people want to do things. Like we all have a purpose, we all have a reason for being here. And I feel like we get so caught up in being in like a survival mode, if you will, that we don't give ourselves permission to dream. Permissions to allow our inner child to really just, that's what we did when we were kids. Like we imagined what things could be like. That's why we have like imaginary friends and, dreams of what we wanted to be as adults and stuff, which is a whole nother topic because it's like who you wanted to be as a child, like what happened with it? Like, what are we doing? Like, is what we're doing now, like, correlated to it or whatever? But it's like really just allowing that creative energy to grow, to thrive. And people want to do things like some people might want to quit this job because they don't like it. They might be good at it, but they probably don't like it. Somebody might feel like, like I've been this lawyer and all of the people in my family are lawyers, but I just really feel like myself when I'm painting. Like they don't give themselves permission to do the things that they really want to do. And they look for external sources to validate, to give them permission to do things. So one of the things that I wrote was, too, with what you just said was like, giving yourself permission to not be attached to an outcome. Because
Mm-hmm.
even though you went live and nobody showed up, right? Like, but you still remained in the energy as if, like you said, like you had a full audience.
Mm-hmm.
You still did it again. You still showed up, and you still basically you didn't attach yourself, like, because very well you could have went live this morning and nobody showed up again. Like that could have been an option.
Yeah.
But you did not allow that fear again to override everything else, you know, which I think maintaining the energy of like, okay, I'm just going to show up because I've done that on lives. You know, I was going pretty consistently on lives, and a lot of times, like, I didn't necessarily always even have a topic in mind. Like, sometimes I started early in the morning and I'm doing my self care routine and I'm just like, hey, and then like might start talking to someone, like one or two people, and then end up going on a whole tangent on things, and people start asking me questions. Like, it just like flowed. But allowing, not attaching to the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
which that does go into the you can't force the flow topic that we're going to go into. But I think my biggest thing when it comes to permission is giving self permission to, one, release the version of themselves that they have been, that might have been in survival mode, that might have been in victim mindset, because it served us. It protected us at one point in our life. But giving ourselves permission to release that and let it go so that we can walk into this transformation, into this person that we're becoming, giving ourselves permission to pivot, to change. Like, it's okay that I said this was okay yesterday, but today it does not feel good to me. So I'm going to say no today.
That's powerful. That's powerful. I like that. And you said something too that was important. It's like maintaining the energy and giving yourself permission to become and step into the newest version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're in the age of Aquarius, right? We all know this. For those that do know, we're stepping into a new age, into a new dynamic. And it's a split now. You got people that is divided between the old paradigm, the old way things used to be, and this new way of things being as they are, because we're living in a time where these things never existed, or these conversations were never had openly, right? They were had, but they weren't popular, right? And there's a lot of people that want things to stay the same or remain the same or whatever, but it just doesn't work. It's not sustainable, right? So when you see things shifting, you have to ask yourself, do I want to stay in this same predicament that I've seen myself in and I know it's not working? Or do I want to give myself the permission to step into this new alignment where I'm not sure how it works, but I know that it works better than how this works right now, right? So that's truly powerful, right? Maintaining that energy, maintaining that focus, that clarity, and just really continuing to show up for yourself, right? That's truly powerful and that's truly impressive. How do you find yourself showing up for yourself more? And I know you have like a lot of other things going on, a lot of different businesses and things of that nature, but and sometimes it can be overwhelming. But how do you find yourself like showing up when you feel like you just want to, like, nah, I don't really want to do that today? Like, how do you find that
in? It's an interesting dynamic because even with all the growth and all the healing that I've done, all the intention that I put into my development mentally and emotionally, I still find that there's times that I battle myself. It's more so like the mindset of like, I'll have thoughts like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And then it's like, oh, you're lazy. Oh, you're not, how can you say you're a coach and you're not doing the things? And um, I had to really coach myself through those beliefs that were self-limiting, because I realize it's not in the absence of these like negative thoughts. It's not in the absence of ego, because that's impossible, right? It's really in how I navigate it when these things come up for me. So me showing up for me is saying, you know what, okay, maybe this is my sign to, like you said, like maybe this is my sign to rest. You know, maybe this is a day that, like, because I did all the things yesterday and keeping that momentum, I'm thinking my brain is telling me that I need to keep doing all the things. But it's like, maybe today is not it. Maybe I need to, maybe showing up for me is just, you know, getting a nice like glass of wine and cozying up on the couch and binging a Netflix show tonight. You know, it could be that. Or it could just be me being really present. And that's why I really love, like, usually on all my lives, like, I'm asking people, how are you feeling? And if they say good, I'm like, no, we don't do that. Like, we're not gonna, like, no, how are you feeling? Tap into how you feel right now in this moment. Because showing up for yourself is really understanding how we're feeling. Because if we're aware of it, then we can pinpoint, like, okay, well, yeah, I'm feeling tired today. What do I need to do about this? Or I'm feeling emotionally drained or emotionally exhausted. You know what I mean? Like, being aware opens up so much possibility for how we can either, you know, maintain that energy, or if we need to shift it, right? So giving myself permission to basically have boundaries. That's how I show up for me. It's like being in tune with how I'm feeling. And if it's something that I would deem as like a negative feeling, then how can I shift this? How can I transition? Like, what do I need in this moment? So it's really asking myself, like, what do you need? What do you desire right now? And feeding into that, feeding into it and not judging myself for it. I think that's the biggest thing, is we are our worst critics. So
nah, for sure. For real. We can be our greatest assets, our greatest cheerleaders, but we can be our worst enemies.
Yeah.
And in regards to like feeling tired and things of that nature, like if you're feeling tired, go get you some Magic Mind, man. You know, like
yes.
if you're, you know, I gotta plug it in real quick.
You know, lately, getting my hands on supplements to boost my focus and productivity have been quite a challenge. But hey, I've got some exciting news to share. For the past 2 weeks, I've been incorporating something different into my routine. Magic Mind mental performance shots. Now, these little shots have been a game changer for me. Unlike other supplements, they don't leave me feeling jittery. There's no crash afterward. I'm consistent but calm, and they don't negatively affect my diet or sleep. And you know what? When I need an extra boost or simply want to enhance my focus, I reach for one of these, pair it with my morning coffee, and boom, I'm locked in, focused, and alert. And the best part, I've noticed a significant reduction in my need for breaks and other stimulants. I'm more productive, less anxious, the whole 9 yards. I've really embraced these shots into my daily routine. I mean, you'll catch me sipping one every single day. So yeah, you could say I'm a pretty big fan of these shots. They're not just a supplement, but they're a lifestyle upgrade.
I ain't gonna stay on that too long. Go ahead and check it out. It's in my TikTok shop.
It's a drink. So y'all know it's a little shot.
Yeah, it's a little shot. It's a little shot. Go get you one. And yeah. So that's really powerful. You know what? This is the thing I did want to ask too. How does somebody give themselves permission? Like, yeah, we understand that, right? And we give ourselves permission because we're doing things like this. We're showing up every day and we're doing the things even when we don't want to do the things, and we continue to do the things even when we want to do the things. But somebody who's starting off in their journey, right? How do they give themselves permission to do the things that they're just so afraid to do? And it's like a wall, literally an invisible wall. They can see the thing they want to do, but they just can't get past that. How do they give themselves permission?
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So what I would tell clients is the first thing is self-awareness. like we said, being self-aware allows, it just opens up the door, you know, versus like, oh, this is just how I am. But no, like, let me be curious. So being self-aware, being curious about whatever the thing is that we're afraid of and why we're afraid of it. There is techniques that I go through with clients to help them dig into like where it came from, because I think when we can understand our past, right, we can understand why we are the way we are now, and then we can make better, you know, better or different choices for the future. Once you get that curiosity and that self-awareness, the next step to give yourself permission is to just show up and be brave. Do it scared. Like, that's what I tell clients, is do it scared. But also don't be in judgment when you're in the space of self-awareness, because we tend to think when we see the problem and we know the solution, right? We have the knowledge, but may not be exercising it and going to the wisdom part of actually like executing it. We tend to judge ourselves because we're not doing the thing. We're not doing it right. So I really stress the importance of sometimes sitting in the awareness. And that's all, like, that's literally your assignment, is to just notice when these things come up for you. When you have like, okay, so you went live, you had a little fear, right? There was some resistance there, but it's like, you still did it though. But there was a moment like before where you thought about going live and you did not, but that's okay. At the time, you just didn't have the capacity. And understanding that as we grow in our self-awareness, that capacity will expand. But we can't just expect it to just like, oh, now I know, so I can do better, and I'm just gonna do this right from now on. No, that's not how it works. So releasing the judgment and just being brave and doing it scared. Because it's like the fear is essentially, it's not going to go away because it's a trigger for you, but we can grow in confidence, and that confidence can override the fear. So just doing little baby steps, and that's really what it is. Learning what our capacity is and figuring out baby steps to get us to this goal. So if somebody's goal was to say, hey, like, I want to show up more in my business and be more like, you know, present on social media. Okay, let's start with the little small things. You know what I mean? Let's get you like planning with your content, right? And then maybe we can do our videos. Or we can create topics and then we can do the videos, like whatever those steps look like for you. But it's really just about balancing, because like creating the goals, but then also being true to who we are, like knowing what you have the capacity for. One thing that I have struggled with in the past is creating these goals that sounded good, because that's what I thought it should look like, the journey. And then in a sense, failing or procrastinating or having inaction because my goals were too lofty. Like I wasn't realistic with the capacity that I have. So that's really all that I would guide someone to, in order to give yourself permission, is doing those steps. Curiosity, self-awareness, being brave, and just doing it scared.
I like that. You know, fear, I feel like, is an indicator. I look at all emotions as indicators of something that's happening outside of ourselves. And I feel like the moment you feel fear, that's when you should just dive head first into whatever it is that you're scared of. Because it creates an overriding system within your body, within your nervous system, to face any fear that you have. Because every time you feel something and you back away, you're creating a pattern within your brain to say, anytime I feel this feeling, I'm going to run, right? So like you said, do it anyway and have bravery when you're doing it. And that's so important because it really it resets your nervous system to say, whenever I feel this feeling, oh, I lean into it more. Oh, I go into it more. Like, oh, this feeling means I'm growing. Oh, this feeling means I'm evolving.
That's an adrenaline rush. Like that's
yeah. It goes from fear to adrenaline. Like, ooh, okay, I like this feeling because I know that there's growth behind And I would say that the important thing is to change the way that we see fear or the way that we experience fear, right? And that change happens, some would consider drastically, like how you put it, like do it afraid. Like that could be drastic to somebody. But when you actually do it, you really are resetting your entire body. You are shifting your entire paradigm. So anytime you see something and you feel that feeling, you have a different perspective of it now. Mm-hmm. And I love the acronym of FEAR, right? The acronym is false evidence appearing real, right? Everything that you experience is not necessarily what it appears to be, right? Like somebody may have a fear of spiders. Maybe there's something else attached to that fear. Maybe you're not afraid of the spiders, but you're afraid of the idea of the spiders, right? Because of what you've been fed. So you're not afraid of the thing, you're afraid of the idea of the thing, or you're afraid of the idea not coming to fruition in the way that you thought it should be, or would be, or could be. So that's important.
I love that. I love that. Because that's actually something that I started to write, was like, is it fear? But one thing that I did, like I put up a feelings wheel and I have it in my office and I have it on my fridge. Because I think a lot of times we don't have the capacity to use a wider range of emotions. So actually recognizing, like, one, is it fear? A lot of times we deem something as fear, but a lot of times it's really like it's anxiety, or it could be tied to like so many different things. But one, like recognizing the feeling, but then also once you can recognize and pinpoint the actual feeling, then we can think about and dig into where is it coming from? Because like you said, you can have a fear or anxiety, let's say, about spiders, right? But a lot of times it's not necessarily the spider that's the fear, right? It's not really the spider that's where our thoughts are on. We can look at what is the thought or the belief that we have with the spider, because there's like thousands of spiders every time we go outside, right? But because we're not giving our attention to it, there's no fear. But if you truly had the fear, most likely you probably would not go step in the grass, because there's probably spiders everywhere you step, so being able to like pinpoint the feeling and then the thought or belief that's attached to it. Usually it's not the spider itself that people have the fear of. It's the thought of, if I get bit by this spider, what's going to happen? Oh, maybe anaphylactic shock, or maybe like I'm poisoned and I die, or, whatever the case may be. It's a thought or belief that creates this emotional reaction within us, not necessarily the actual item itself, the event, like in this case, the spider, right? So once we do that, I feel like that just increases, like you said, it really just expands us, because now we're able to see, like, now that I know, okay, that's where it's, so it's not really spiders, you know what I mean? Because that's also with snakes. Like I could be potentially poisoned from a snake too, like there's all these pathways that are able to be like opened. And even in the anxiety, and the thing is, anxiety and excitement are very similar in vibration. That is an energy that you can actually transmute. So if you have anxiety about something, if we shift our thought or belief around it, we can actually transmute it into excitement, which is what you did when you went live, even after nobody showed up the last time, and you transmuting that energy allowed the vibration energetically for things to be attracted to you, which was people to get on and actually engage with you. People to get on, and that even boosted your own confidence, your own, I'm sure, of like, okay, like people are actually interacting with me. Like I can see myself doing this now. Whereas last week I probably did not. So it's really just shifting the energy of, and giving ourselves permission to, what are the possibilities? What could this look like? Okay, yeah, I might have this fear of being seen, but like that very thing that the false reality that you talked about with like the acronym of fear, like that's usually tied to, has something, it's correlated to either our purpose or the very thing that is going to break the generational pattern in your family. It's going to be the thing that is going to lead you to your knowledge of self or your purpose, or like that is the thing that we're avoiding. That's probably the thing we need to be doing more of in general, you know?
Okay.
So again, it's just mindset and perspective.
I got a perspective to give you, right? I gave you the analogy of fear, right? False evidence appearing real. I'm gonna give you the transmuted version of that, right?
Okay.
Face everything and rise.
Okay. I like it.
So once you see it, you understand that the evidence of it appearing to you, that's not actually what it is, right? That's just what I perceive it to be. But if you face it, you will rise higher. You will raise your level of consciousness and you will feel more confident within yourself.
Oh, you need to do a video on that. Or did you already? Or did you come up with that?
I just came up with that.
Oh, okay. Look at that magic mind working.
Hey, I'm telling you, the magic is in me. The magic.
Face everything and rise. I like that.
Face everything and rise. Because the thing is, when I first started on this journey, right, of sharing, and I wasn't even really particular on what I was sharing, but I was just sharing in my experiences. There were so many things and hurdles that I had to overcome, but no matter what, I continued to show up every single day. And in the beginning of my journey, everybody questioned me about what I was talking about, what I was doing, what I was sharing. Everybody had their own opinions about the things I was doing, and a lot of them weren't really the most positive, right? But nonetheless, I kept showing up. And the more I showed up, the more people started to understand, like, oh, this is who he is. And then it's like, now it's not so much of a doubt on the other end. If you don't believe in it, you're just hate. But now, for those that have seen me on this journey, now they see the growth, they see the evolution, they see that I've been consistent, but not only that, I've been growing. I haven't just been staying stuck and stagnant, but I've been growing. So now it's like, oh, I see you now. I'm proud of you. I see the work that you've done, and I've seen the effect that it's had on others, right? So that's just how you really transmute the energy, right? There's a saying, there's a quote that I seen, and I put it on one of my videos, and it's like, the universe or the world belongs to the magicians of the world, meaning that the people that know how to utilize energy, that understand energy, frequency, vibration, that really truly understand that, are the ones that create the realities that we live in. Like this right here is a reality. And for those that resonate with this reality, also have the same inclination about how energy works, or they want to be somebody who is in position to do the things that we're currently doing. Because just us showing up in this manner, it really puts people in a whole nother light, in a different perspective, to say, oh man, I can see myself doing that, or I can believe in myself and whatever it is that I'm doing without any fear of regret or judgment, right? So I think that's truly powerful. That's the good way to end that and move into the next topic, as far as like face everything and rise, false evidence appearing real. So we'll get that to the people. And I feel like we've just been doing this topic. I don't think it's a topic to talk about. I think it's a topic to experience how we're experiencing it right now. And it's, you can't force the flow, right? Like literally before we started, we were both asking ourselves like, all right, how are we going to do this, right? Because last time, we had notes. We was like, boom, boom, boom. It was just on point, right? This time it's like, I just got talking points. I ain't really got like notes per se, but I have what I want to talk about. And here's the thing, right? When you've been doing this work for as long as I've been doing it, or for as long as you've been doing it, it's not something that you can just simply take off a notebook and read it verbatim. It's something that you become. It's something that you are. It's something that people can resonate with because they know and see and feel where it's coming from. And so being in flow is just that. Being in flow is being true to who you are in every single moment of your life. And I feel like a lot of people really take themselves out of that flow state whenever they doubt the flow that they're in. Because the flow looks different for everybody, but you know it when you're in it. You know, when you're disconnected from it and when you reconnect with it, that's how you know what the flow feels like, right? Abraham Hicks talks about this all the time, getting into the flow state, following the path of least resistance, right? Understand when you're out of the flow and when you're in the flow, right? And a lot of us talk ourselves out of it, like how we talked about earlier, how people have these preconceived notions of fear or have these preconceived notions about their circumstances, right? That's talking yourself out of the flow state. But when you're able to tap into these kind of conversations and these kind of topics, you're putting yourself in the flow state just by being within the vicinity of the conversation, by really tapping into the conversation, by really interacting with the conversation, whether it be in the comments, whether it be you liking this and sharing this with others, or rather you just creating your own dialogue around the conversation with friends and family. This is what allows you to really get into that flow state. And this is what creates the confidence and the dynamics within your life that brings evidence to show you where you currently stand. Like, how do you find yourself in the flow state, right? How do you put yourself in the flow state, and how do you know when you're out of the flow state, and how do you put yourself back in it?
You know, one thing because I'm of the mindset that everything, everything happens for a reason.
Mm.
And so and I love Abraham Hicks, however, I feel like even when I would, like, my perfectionist mind wants to say that you're out of the flow state, I'm in flow.
Mm.
Because life is never happening to me. It's happening for me.
Mm.
And what I tell, like, what I speak on so much is that if it's not, it's either a win or a lesson. And if it's a lesson, it's a win. So it's like, there's really no negatives. Either I'm going to grow from this situation, or I might just have to end up repeating the pattern and, going through this experience again until I can expand in some way or shift in some way, shape, or form. So I think having that mindset, but I think the thing too is to note that this is not an excuse to just say, well, this is just how I am, so I'm just going to do this because, no, that is not an outlet for, this is just the way I am. But it's even when I'm thinking and I get hard on myself, because I'm like, dang, I didn't do right. I shouldn't have done that. No. Okay. Because what did we learn from it? I learned that I'm not going to do that action again. And this is going to now allow this pattern to be discontinued. And now I get to go and face new challenges. Now I get to go and experience new opportunities because I've closed this door and now I'm able to go step into another space. So I think having the mindset of literally everything is a growth opportunity rather than thinking of it in a more scarcity mindset and this is not right. Because where does my if I'm focused on thinking of it in the negative, wherever we put our focus, our attention is where we put our energy, and what we give our energy to, that's where we give our life force, So I tend to think let me have more of a positive mindset, but also still sit in the feeling, still allow myself to process I'm not going to make this choice again, but I do need to still process in my body what came from this experience, but I'm still going to have the mindset that this is not wrong. We're not going to get all riled up and be down on ourselves and judge ourselves and criticize, because where is that going to get me? So having the growth mindset, I think, helps to shift my narrative. And I mean, it works for me.
That's dope. I feel that. Having the growth mindset. You said it so perfect. You say everything is a growth opportunity. Everything is a growth opportunity. I feel like that kind of goes into that really ties into the whole entire conversation, right? Everything is a growth opportunity, no matter what. And I said this to myself last night, and I was like, you know what? Everything that I'm going through is going to make a wonderful comeback story. So it's like the more you go through, the greater the comeback story is, because that's where the inspiration is and that's where the lessons are.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what you're facing, the growth is there. No matter what you're facing, there's always a lesson. No matter what you're facing, there is always going to be an opportunity for you to come back and really to see yourself from a different vantage point. I was having a conversation with my friend this morning, right? And as we was talking and conversating, he was saying like, like we grew up, and he was more blessed than I was. Like I really had to work hard for everything that I have. And kudos to him because he had to work hard for the things he has too. But we came from two different dynamics, right? Mm-hmm. Where I had to learn certain lessons a little harder than he did. But those lessons taught me so much that I feel like I wouldn't have learned had I just received all of the blessings that I am now receiving, right? Because the process involves hardship in a sense. Because it's just pressure, right? It's not really so much hardship, but it's pressure. And in order for you to really grow and evolve in this lifetime, you really have to go through certain pressures in your life, right? And it's nothing that you really can't overcome because you're the one that's going through it, right? And sometimes it can be overwhelming. Sometimes you can just sit back and tell yourself like, oh man, why me? Why is it happening? But then you get that growth mindset and you ask yourself, well, why not me? Or I can see how this is going to have that effect on me later on. Like I see how this is going to help me grow and navigate in this next chapter. Because I think, and I feel this truly, when you ask for greatness, that's when all of these other things show up. And they don't always show up the same day when you ask for the greatness, right? But you start to embark on a journey. Like for me, in my beginning stages, I set the intention to say, look, I want to grow and I want to continue to grow and become the greatest version of myself. And so I didn't know what that looked like, but I kept going forward. I always continued to step up. And every time it was like there was a new challenge. And I was like, hey, well, I was yeah. I was talking with I was having a conversation with God, like I feel like everybody has this relationship that they develop with God. It's just what I believe. I was talking to God and I was like, why you keep playing with me? Right? Why you keep playing with me? And then I realized, I was like, oh, because I asked for the growth and you're delivering on your promise. So I can't even be mad because I know that this is just something that you are preparing me for. You're preparing me for the greatness that you are always putting in front of me. It's like you want these great things or you will have these great things, but you must first go through these challenges, because these challenges, I don't even like to consider them challenges anymore. I consider them initiations, right? Because if you look in certain doctrine, in order for you to like pass through, like have this rite of passage, you must go through an initiation phase. And that could be challenging because it's testing everything that you learned up until that point. So these initiation phases that I am going through is just challenging the knowledge that I have gathered over that period of time before the challenge actually came. So it's like, okay, boom, the challenge comes. But now all of this knowledge and information and experiences that you've gathered has prepared you for that challenge. So to your point, there's growth in everything. But you got to understand that the growth is just a test to the challenge, right? It's just a test to get you ready for the ultimate challenge to face in your life, because you, as you are now, you will not be ready for that challenge that you are going to face until you've gone through these various tests, right? So, yeah, the flow state is amazing, and having that mindset is amazing. And I feel like, how do you cultivate that? And I know how, and you know how, but what goes into that process for you? What goes into that process of cultivating that everything is a growth opportunity?
Looking, here we go again. I think looking at like the acronym that you used, so the false evidence appearing real. There was times in our life where we had fear or maybe some other similar emotion when faced with challenges, initiations, right? However, to have gotten to this point, I have gotten through all of those fears, all of those initiations. Sometimes we have to really sit and do a reflection of like an analysis, if you will, because that false evidence, like let's look at the evidence, right? Because that's where our beliefs stem from. It in our thoughts, it's either fear of what could happen or not trying to have something that already happened reoccur. That's what the ego's for, right? But looking at the evidence of, okay, this happened before. I've had this feeling, but I got through it. There was times that I did not know like how I was going to get through something, and God or my community or whatever the case may be, like I've always had the resources. So it's really about seeing that while in this moment I may not see a way out, I may not see getting over this hurdle. Like I do not know how I'm going to work through this challenge, but having the hope, maintaining the energy that I know it's going to work out, because it always has. Because I've either had a win or I've had a lesson, and it expanded me in some way, shape, or form. So really just like being in reflection and looking at the evidence, because sometimes, and I tell clients, like sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. But sometimes we can't even be in that energy. Like we really just don't believe it. You know what I mean? So being able to look at the past and reflect on the times, because before this challenge, there was another challenge that, like we did not know how to navigate. So yeah, for me, it's either a fake it till you make it until you do believe it, until you do feel like more of a, it's who you are. And the mindset just like comes even when, because even now, like I've done all this growth and I have a growth mindset, but there's times where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to be on the victim triangle and it's okay. Like I'm like, why is this ish happening to me? And like, I've been doing so well and da 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 da. Like I create all these thoughts and I allow myself to be in that, because again, the path to like of least resistance. Like it's okay to sometimes sit, like we need to sit in those feelings and process it so that we can be in a more creative space. We have to release that so that we can have the opportunity to create options that we may not have seen when we were so focused on the problem. So it's really just being in the space of allowing ourselves to, man, F this. Like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? I don't want to heal. I don't want to help others. I don't want to, like going through the feelings. But then, all right, now it's time to clean this up. It's time to clean this mindset up. Like, what can I learn from this? In what way or what resources can I have that I can tap into? Whether it's, reaching out to another coach. Like, I'm really kind of struggling with this right now. Like, can we have a conversation? Do you have the capacity to hold space for me right now? Or maybe it's reaching out to my therapist, or maybe it's, you know what I mean? Like whatever it looks like for you, but just having the awareness to know, like, okay, like I said, giving yourself permission to ask what you need in that moment.
Wow. That goes back to permission.
Right.
That goes back to permission. Golly, this is good. I'm gonna play God's advocate, right? I'm gonna play God's advocate real quick, because we don't mess with the other side, right? But so there's some people, like you said, that are just like, man, forget all that, man. I'm just trying to get from here to here right now. Like, forget all that trial and error and all the other stuff. How can I get to where I'm trying to get to right now? Like, I'm asking you, how can I get to where I'm trying to get to right now? I ain't trying to go through all of that. I'm just trying to get from here to here.
Honesty. Honesty with self, because giving yourself permission to like understand what you have the capacity for. And a lot of times when we have the feeling of frustration, it's because I'm not where I want to be. Like, that's one of the biggest things I've seen in clients is I'm not where I want to be. Okay, well, where do you think you need to be right now? Okay, I need to be, having the 6 figures. Okay, let's dig into that, right? Because even if you did have, let's say, the means or the job what would you do with those 6 figures? Do you have the mindset where you would actually prosper? Or maybe is there a possibility that you might have some either beliefs, patterns that would keep you in a very limited like aspect of life with that? Because we can make the money, but if we still have these money beliefs of like, like we don't have an abundance mindset, a lot of times, like, you see the people that get the taxes and they end up spending it and they're in the same position, if not worse, 2-3 months after they get their taxes. So it's really like, are you honest enough with yourself? Not me, because you can lie to me all day as a coach. Like that's fine.
Right.
You can lie to yourself, but it's going to show up. Like, it's going to show up in your life, the trueness. So what do you have the capacity for? Do you have the mindset for where you want to be yet? Or is there maybe a possibility that maybe there is value in these little challenges, in these hurdles, in these initiations? Because you have to, like, in the Bible where it talks about being good in the small things before we get to the big things. Like, you can't ask for, like, because I'm single and dating, right? Like, I can't say like I want the protector and the provider and I need him to do this and this and this if I'm not doing the work to be the type of woman that this man that I'm asking for is going to need. So it's really like, let me be honest with myself. Am I preparing for the very thing that I'm asking for? Am I maintaining an energy that is going to put me in a place to attract the thing that I'm asking for? Because it's nice to have these lofty goals, right? But if you don't have the capacity or the mindset to not only attain it, but to also attract it, like, what are we doing? What exactly are you doing? So yeah, it's nice to have that, but like, let's be honest. Because if you're not honest, then we really not gonna get nowhere in our sessions, So that would be my focus, is to shift to, and like I said, just not being judgmental of it. This is what you have the capacity for right now. And think about it too. If you have this lofty goal of like, okay, I want to do this and I want to make the 6 figures, right? 6 figures come with 6-figure problems. Okay. Like, people that are, rich, they got different issues than what you have making, maybe 70,000 a year or whatever the case may be. Like, so I have to go through this initiation, and it's okay. I'm gonna fail at times, but it's going to get me in a position that is more ready mentally and emotionally for what is attached to this goal, this intention that I have. But like, let's just say it's okay to not be ready for it yet. It's not to say you're not gonna get there. But if you can't be honest with yourself, then we cannot move past that.
Honesty. Honesty is key. Honesty is key. You said it earlier too. Law of attraction. Law of attraction is basically you attract who you are, not what you think you are. Right? So a lot of us have these thoughts and ideologies about how our lives should be, but everything around us is an indicator of how our lives actually is, right? But it's okay to have the idea because it gives you like sight to see the opportunities to put you in position to get the things that you say you want or that you think you want, right? And so, yeah. You said it best, right? I don't need to pontificate upon that anymore. But it's coming close to that time. I think we need to give the people some homework. Let's kind of go back on what we talked about. So when it comes to permission, right? Giving yourself permission. The thing you want to do is first shift your focus, right? Shift your nervous system, shift your fear. Instead of going false evidence appearing real, go with face everything and rise, meaning that if there's something that you are afraid of, lean into it. If there's something that you're going for and you just don't know how it's going to materialize, just lean into the process of it and see what the outcome of the process is going to give you instead of drawing up these preconceived notions of how it's not going to work. First, see how it works, and then you can start to draw conclusions from what you've already experienced, not from a space of past experiences where things didn't work. So that would be my thing to give to the people as far as like what to work on. What do you want to give to them?
And as a great thought leader and mindset coach that I know once said, what's the best that can happen? You know? That's all I got, but that was you. So
for sure. What's the best that can happen? Literally, what is the best possible outcome for your life? This has been a very insightful conversation. I've really enjoyed this. I've learned a lot. I've got my notes here as well. I'm sure you got your notes as well. And thank you for everybody that tuned in today. Thank you for being on this journey with us. Thank you for allowing us to be on this journey with you. And I truly believe we do better when we grow together. So let's continue to grow with one another. If you're looking to become the greatest version of yourself, if you're looking to overcome that brain fog, if you're looking to really step into a more productive state of being, then go check out my TikTok shop. Go get you some Magic Mind Performance Shot Elixir. It's available now in my TikTok shop. Also, also, I have a clothing line that is coming up soon. Peace in Progress, right? It's a really dope product, and I feel like it stands the test of time. I feel like it's something that all of us are looking for. We're all looking for peace, and we're all looking to make progress in our lives. So if that's you and you're looking to make that sort of progress in your life, well, be on the lookout for that. The drop is coming soon, and I will notify everyone for when that drop is coming.
Yes.
And yeah, you got anything?
I mean, of course, if you are interested in digging a little deeper into this work, I do have a couple slots open for one-on-one coaching, but I am finalizing the details for my next group coaching cohort. So the link's on my page for an interest form, and then we can set up an appointment for a sales call. And I am Kalisha Lachelle on all platforms. Other than that, this would be like my first announcement. I have, excuse me, a workshop that is coming up too, and it will be mid-October that I'm so excited for, and it is entitled "Why Being a Good Person is Stunting Your Healing and Growth." And it is going to challenge so many beliefs, so many patterns. It's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, and I'm so excited for it. So excited. We're going to dig into like different personality types, whether it's the people pleaser or the dutiful partner or, the empathetic listener, and how it shows up for us and how we can shift that to be more of service to ourselves so we can stop self-abandoning. So I'm really excited for that. So be on the lookout for that on my social media as well. And yeah, that's all I got, y'all.
That's powerful. I'm looking forward to that. What?
I am so excited. Like I was writing the lesson plans and I'm like, oh, this is gonna hurt some feelings, but I am ready for it. Hey, I am ready for it.
That's what we're here for. We're here to hurt and heal at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Because the truth, this is my belief, the truth will set you free, but first it's gonna hurt like hell.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's gonna hurt. But that's the beautiful thing about it, right? Because you heal from the hurt, you know? Yeah. And I am also looking for, I think you sent me the link to one of the group coaching sessions. Or was that, no, that was the podcast. That was the podcast.
Because we do once a month where we do a live podcast and anybody that wants to show up, which I hope to see you next time.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, like the podcast, Trigger Warning Podcast on all platforms as well. So yeah, we doing great things. I'm excited for us, especially with your coaching.
Oh, for sure. That's coming soon. One-on-one consultation is coming soon. Actually, I do have a few slots available right now. If you want to book, you can go to the link in my description and all of my social media platforms. You can book a 30-minute call and we can just help you to become the greatest version of yourself and really step into your greatness.
Yeah.
And all my social medias are at Paula Zay Anthony. So you can check me out on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. And I have a show as well that I do called the Paula Zay Theory. So we talk about metaphysics, quantum physics, a little science, and some religion. So if that's something that you're interested in, go check that out. And yeah, that's it.
I love it. Well, y'all, until next time, when we get to go beyond the usual.
Beyond the usual. Peace and progress, everybody.
Peace, y'all.